So I'm finally getting to redo the exhaust in my old truck. I've been looking forward to this project for more than a year. So the Patient here is a 1968 Dodge pickup truck. Originally came with a 318, but when I bought it, somebody had put a 440 in it out of a C body. It had exhaust manifolds and they were leaking badly. And when I went to fix that, of course, I broke studs off. That resulted in new heads. Eventually, I guess it was when I broke the crank. So this 68 forged, or the forged crankshafts had a flaw, and I broke it where they all break. And got rid of the exhaust manifolds at that time. Yeah, that's when I got rid of the exhaust manifolds, and I went to long tube headers. And the problem with this is that they never put the 440, the raised deck block, in a 68 pickup truck. And the 68 was especially bad because it actually has a secondary cross member for the manual transmission. In 69, they got rid of that cross member, but I still had it. And so these headers, they were never made for a raised deck block in this truck. They ran into that first cross member, which I actually cut out. It's not needed. And they still kind of ran into the second cross member. So these headers have just been a huge pain in the ass. But they're no longer made, and so I've wrapped them with titanium wrap just to keep the heat down in the truck. It's worked quite well. But as we'll see, a big challenge then was getting exhaust pipe to route correctly. And so what I did is I came back to where that cross member was. Actually, I didn't come all the way back to it. Came pretty close to it. And I made these S-bends, and I made these out of pipe from Summit. I just ordered mandrel bends and I pieced it together from a borrowed welder. Used a borrowed welder and a borrowed chop saw in my carport in Atlanta. And so that was all good. It worked pretty well, but this is obviously not great, right? That's a really severe bend pretty quickly on a big block. It's trying to move a lot of air. And then I kept breaking mounts, exhaust mounts, and so I actually had somebody else install the flex pipes, and they just did an absolutely shitty job. First off, that's not particularly straight, but I don't know if you can see it. We'll have to go around to the other side, but they put one of the mounts on the bed, on the underside of the bed. Not the frame, but the actual body of the vehicle, which is just stupid. So here's part of what's going in. So one of the things I'm going to do is those headers, they neck down from a 3-inch collector to 2.5 inch right away. And so I don't like that. So I'm going to chop the neck down off. I'm going to put these, I'll shorten these, but so that's a 3-inch collector. So that's going to go on. Where I have those really bad S-bends, they're going to get this treatment instead. Obviously some flex pipe in there because I think it needs to be in there. 3-inch inlet and outlet dual, or inlet and 3-inch outlet mufflers. Some MagnaFlow straight through. And then 1970 Super Bee exhaust tips. I actually have a 1970 Super Bee in storage. And let's see, I don't have enough hands here. And these look really cool on this truck. They're a 2.5 inch. Come back to the 2.5 inch issue in a moment. But I made these exhaust tips on my own, again, with a borrowed welder, borrowed chop saw. You can actually see there's a little shorty resonator in the back too. That's gonna go away. But the other thing, when this shop put the flex pipe on, they didn't get the exhaust tips on straight. I don't know how well you can see it, but the one on the left is lower than the one on the right, and it's crooked. So whatever they did, they just did kind of a shitty job. I'm not real happy with that. Part of why I'm redoing it all. And then let's see if I can see where that shouldn't be too hard to find. There it is. There's the other bend, not bend. The other clamp for the exhaust, and they put it on the bed. That's bed frame, I guess, but it's not actual like vehicle frame. Like, who does that, right? Of course, they didn't do the best job welding. It's got a leak. I don't know. These guys just sucked. And they had an attitude too. I mean, if they wouldn't have already had the truck on the lift by the time we started talking about stuff, I actually would have had them take it back down. But we're going to get rid of the 2-inch exhaust, 2.5 inch, excuse me, exhaust that's on here. These mufflers are not as long as the new ones I got. But what I'm going to end up doing is cutting it off, the exhaust off back here. And I'll keep everything from this bend back. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm basically keeping the 2.5 inch hump over the axle to the end of the vehicle. Then some of that'll be new. So that's kind of what's going to happen. I'm going to have to figure out my H pipe, and I built that later. My friend brought his welder back, and we put that H pipe in. So I'll sort that out. So anyway, that's a lot of what's happening here. It's going to be hopefully not too long to do this project, but it is going to be exhausting. It's an exhausting project. But the good news is I own my own welder now. Got a 220 volt welder. Boom, right there. I own my own chop saw, and I have time now, so I don't have to try to get this done in a long weekend, which is what I did last time. I've got time to do it right. So I'm going to get the headers off, send those out to get sandblasted. I would love to have them ceramic coated, but I just don't have that funding. So they'll get an Eastwood header paint and they'll get rewrapped, because nobody's making that, even though it wasn't the right header. Nobody's making that one anymore. So I've got to keep them in good enough shape as long as I can. So anyway, I'm going to try to document this and just see how this whole project goes.